Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, students. Hope you are doing well. Today's presentation is related to parts of speech. Yesterday we discussed the various parts of speech. We just touched upon their basics. We did not discuss them in detail, just to make you understand the concept. Now, today we are going to start with nouns, and before plunging into the lecture, let me share with you the SLOs, the student learning objectives, that I want to achieve via this lesson, and that I want you to achieve while listening to it. The first thing is knowledge regarding noun and its types, and understanding usage of nouns with respect to other parts of speech, that is the noun markers, the other part of speech that are relevant to nouns, like prepositions, like determinants, like quantifiers, like adjectives, like verbs, etc. So why we study nouns, that is the primary question, and why we have to discuss the various types of nouns. These are the two important questions that arises in a student's or a person's mind, that why it is necessary to study nouns. So the answer is quite simple. Most children begin building their vocabularies with nouns. A noun names something, a person, place or thing. Most other parts of our language either describe nouns, tell what a noun is doing, or take the place of a noun. So babies, when they utter their first words, are either related to food items or they are related to their parents. For example, usually in our societies, in general, in Urdu, we use the word mum for any food item. For example, if we want to give milk or any hard food to the baby, we use the word mum. Lo munna mum khalo. So mum is basically naming something, naming a food item. That is not a particular name, but for that baby it becomes particularly. Similarly, when he starts learning single words, the first words that he learns is either mum or dad, mama, papa, ammi, abba, whatever, with respect to various cultures. So children start this. At a child stage, we start naming objects. Do remember, noun has these characteristics. They are abstract or concrete, they are proper or common, most are singular or plural, but some are collective. So we will discuss these characters in detail in the later slides. First one is abstract versus concrete nouns. Abstract nouns name things we cannot see, touch, detect readily through our senses. Abstract nouns are ideas like existentialism, democracy, communism, socialism. Measurements like weight, length, percent. Emotions like love or hate, or qualities like responsibility. Concrete nouns, on the other hand, name persons, including animals, cousins, rabbit, places, or things we can see, touch, or otherwise detect through our senses. Gasoline, petrol. Now some of you must be wondering, measurements like weight or percent, they are countable. No. The weight and percent, I will clarify this trick later on. Please remember this point while we are moving ahead in the lecture. Every noun is either proper noun or common noun. A proper noun identifies a particular person, animal, place, thing, or idea, like Ali, for example. The first letter of each word of a proper noun is capitalized. So proper noun starts with capital letters. I will share an example with you. A common noun does not name a particular person or thing. Rather, it refers to a whole class or type. By class, I mean the category. Like boys, girls. They are a whole class, whole community. Common nouns do not require capitalization. Yes, exception is there. If the common noun comes in the start of a sentence, it starts with the capital letter. The dog ate Marvin's favorite tie and the cat wrapped white hair on Marvin's black suit. I am giving you a few seconds if you can identify the proper and common nouns. So, in the start of the sentence, the dog is a common noun. Marvin, you may have guessed it, is a name, so it's a proper noun. Tie is a common noun. Cat is a common noun. Hair is a common noun. Marvin again is a proper noun, and suit is a common noun. Most nouns are made plural with addition of s or es. Thus, instructor becomes instructors and class becomes classes. You must remember that there are some regular rules for making plurals and there are some irregular nouns which have an irregular form in the plural shape. So, usually instructor or teachers become, by addition of s or es, they become plural. But some nouns have irregular plural forms. Man becomes men, child becomes children, and person becomes people. Now, there is a misconception that people is a collective noun. No, people is the plural form of person. Do remember, some nouns have the same form in both singular and plural form, like moose. Moose is an animal in North America. If I say one moose or two moose or three moose or five moose or 10 moose or many moose, I won't use any s or es with it. Its singular form and its plural form is the same. Sheep, fish are other examples of such nouns. Now, furthermore, concrete nouns or material nouns are divided into countable or uncountable nouns. Countable nouns are those nouns which can be counted. They have a singular form and plural form. This is very important. They have a singular form and a plural form. The singular form can use the determinant a or an. If you want to ask about the quantity of a countable noun, you ask the question how many. You ask the question what? How many. You need to know the exact quantity combined with the plural countable noun. Examples: she has 3 dogs. I can convert it into a question. How many dogs does she have? I own a house. I own 2 houses. I would like 2 books, please. How many friends do you have? I have 7 friends. I have 10 friends. So, the plural form is there. The nouns that can be counted have a plural form. But furthermore, when I discuss the uncountable nouns, we cannot use a or an with these nouns. To express a quantity of an uncountable noun, we use words like or expressions like a lot of, much, a bit of, a great deal of, or else use an exact measurement like a cup of, a bag of, 1 kg of, 1 liter of, a handful of, a pinch of, an hour of, a day of. If you want to ask about the quantity of an uncountable noun, you ask how much. So how much? Again, in order to count the uncountable nouns, we quantify something. We need something which can be quantified, which is countable. For example, water. I count water using something like 1 glass of water, 1 jug of water. There has been a lot of research into the causes of this disease. He gave me a lot. Do remember, and I will clarify it later on. 1 kilogram of water. The word kilogram is a unit, and it's so small in unit, when the units are further divided, that the English language consider it uncountable. But when I put 1 or 2 with it, so 2 kilograms and 3 kilograms, then it becomes countable. There has been a lot of research into the causes of this disease. He gave me a great deal of advice before my interview. Can you give me some information about uncountable nouns? He did not have much sugar left. Measure 1 cup of water, 300 grams of flour, and 1 teaspoon of salt. How much rice do you want? So these are some of the ways in which you quantify the uncountable nouns. Tricky spots. Be careful with the noun hare or sheep, or fish, which is normally uncountable in English. Be careful with the noun hare only, which is normally uncountable in English. So it is not used in the plural. It can be countable only when referring to individual hares. The word money is uncountable noun. It is quantified in form of notes or currencies. Money does not become monies. Currency or note cannot be pluralized or currencies or notes. The other type is gerunds. Gerunds you are all aware of. You have studied it in metric and in your lower classes. But the basic concept of gerund, which I will discuss gerund in detail with infinitives in later lectures. But today you must just understand the basic concept. Gerund is a non-finite form of verb made by adding ing. By non-finite I mean we do not add to with it. I love baking. I love to baking nahi hota. But try to remember this thing. If you want to identify a gerund in a sentence, it can be shifted to an infinitive forms. For example, I like baking. So if it can be converted, I like to bake, then it means it's a gerund. This is the test to find a gerund or an infinitive. So infinitive can be converted into a gerund and gerund can be converted into an infinitive. But in the infinitive case, it becomes a verb. It becomes what? A verb. Like I like baking, I like to bake. In I like to bake is basically infinitive form of verb. Collective noun. Collective noun names a collection or group of things. Although a collective noun refers to a group of many things, it is usually singular in form. We think of a collective noun as a singular because its members act as in one accord. For example, the army, the navy, the air force. The army is withdrawing from those Asian countries that are in negotiation. So army is basically a collection of various things. You have different units, you have different weapons, you have different divisions, you have brigades, you have companies, you have platoons. So army is a collection of various things. In some instances, a collective noun describes a group that is not acting with one will, whose members rather are taking independent divergent action. In this case, the collective noun is treated as plural to reflect the plurality of the members' action. For example, the jury. The jury were unable to come to any consensus. So based upon situation, the jury consists of many members. So if the jury reaches one decision, then the jury is singular. But if the jury is divided in its decision, then it becomes plural because you have to show the plurality of the decision. So the jury were unable to come to any consensus. It means the jury is divided in its opinion. But if I say the jury has reached its verdict, it means the jury has finally decided something. So in that instance, the jury will be a singular, not a plural. I hope you have understood the basic concepts. I will share the PowerPoint presentation with you in the form of a PPT so that you can take handouts from it. If you have any questions, you can ask.